everyone, it's Andy from Hobby Headquarters. Well, over the last month, after receiving this massively large model car collection, I know you probably can't see everything I see, but I'm seeing a lot of empty boxes because I was able to go through about 99% of it already right now. There's a few little odds and ends I need to take care of. But during that time, too, I also announced, too, that I would like to put together a museum of vintage model kits. There were so many kits that I found in this collection that I haven't seen before or haven't seen in many, many years. And I thought there's probably a lot of other people just like me that remember all this stuff growing up, but don't get the opportunity to see it all the time. So that's when I announced that I was going to set up the museum, starting with a lot of the kits that I got out of this collection. Plus, I've collected a lot of kits over the years, too, that something would come in a little small collection. Oh, that's really cool. Throw it in a box, keep it to the side over there. And now, once we get, of course, all this area cleaned up back here, there's still a lot of supplies and stuff to go through as well. What I thought I would do today is, behind me, these are all the boxes of the model collection that I put together that will go in the museum. Some of the stuff you haven't seen before from other videos. You remember the last video I did was on the 100 years of the Chevy. Well, I actually found another 57 Chevy to put in that collection. Now, the museum is not just going to be rare, expensive kits. It's also going to be a lot of stuff to kind of tell a story, like I did with the 57 Chevy. I also would like to have an area that will show what a small section of hobby store rack would look like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And with the amount of kits I have right now, I'm actually able to accomplish that. So there's about 12 boxes, 13 boxes I'm going to show you right now. We won't spend too much time on it, but I thought I'd give you an idea what is going to go into this museum. And then you can see all the cool stuff that I've got to see. So, let's get started. Okay, box number one. This is some real oldies but goodies here. This would obviously make up the rack of 1960s. Of the kits that were out at the time. And as you can see here, we have lots of very old vintage SMP, AMT, and well, this one actually doesn't belong in this box, but it's here right now. This is actually from the 70s, but we'll pull this one out of the way here. But you can see all of these 1960s vintage boxes. Some of them don't have complete kits inside. Some of them have missing parts, so it's more or less for the boxes on this side. But we have things like this, where this is a original SMP kit, and then after AMT bought it out, you can see they just changed the label on it right there to the AMT, but kept all the box art the same. So you can see how that will tell a nice little story. Plus we have lots and lots of the Johan kits. Like this one is the customizing car kit from the 1960 model. And just really, really cool, I think, box art that will be able to tell a story of what a hobby shop looked like in 1960, according to this box. And then we have things like this. Here's a 63 customizing kit from Johan of a Chrysler 300. Kind of interesting right here. Some more. Here's another SMP. And I'll actually show you too a few of these kits. Yeah, like some of these actually have a car built inside of it, and this one I absolutely knew it did. And this was probably put together in the 1960s, maybe the 70s. And some kid back then put the stickers on, did all the customizing. And I know it's kind of a rough looking model right here, but it's part of the story. It's telling that this hobby was really designed for younger kids and younger adults, and not so much towards the adult market as it is now. But you could just imagine some kid back then, see all the glue marks all over it or parts that have popped off, but just kind of cool stuff. But we still have the instructions, and the box is in fairly decent condition. Now, not all of them are like that. Some of them actually do have the kits inside of this, but I thought this is a great example of what a 1960s store shelf would look like for model cars. Okay, next up we have a box of old vintage airplanes. Because this museum can't just be all cars, it's not a model car museum, it's a model museum. So we will have other types of subjects inside of it, like airplanes and tanks and sci-fi stuff, things like that, and space stuff is for that matter as well. And this is one kit you guys may have not seen before. This is an old Fokker D7 from Aurora. I did a video on this a long time ago, but if you're new to the channel, this is the kind of stuff that'll be in here. This is a 1958 kit. Just really cool. Old box. Very interesting. And then the rest of these kits in here, I just did a video a week and a half ago when we found these in the collection. But there were a few others in here that you may have not seen. Actually, I know you didn't because this came in the collection a couple months earlier. But this is an old 1970s Learjet from IMC. So you can see stuff like this will also be in the collection. Here we are. Here is another box for the what a shelf would look like in a certain time period. Now, please understand, a lot of these kits are mixed together right now. So when I call out saying that, oh, this is what a 1970s or 1980s box will look like, I know there will be kits from other time periods in there. They just, you know, to fill a space in a box, but to give you a general idea. So here we've got obviously some 70s kits. And actually an old 68 kit here of an old MPC Tornado, and then as well as the 70 Tornado as well. And then John Travolta Firebird Fever car. Kind of interesting. Never saw that car before. And then of course we have a whole bunch of Firebirds in here as well. And these are telling the kind of the story when MPC would release these kits and they would name every one of the cars. So we have the Sundancer, which, you know, the convertible, the White Lightning, well, this one's the War Eagle, and this one's the Firebird T-Roof, which not really a name, but you know what I'm talking about there. So it was just kind of interesting the way they did that. Plus, these are two. Let's pull these out. These are two not very old kits. I mean, they've been around for a while. Probably, I'm guessing the 80s on this one right here, but it's from a company called Ari, and they're out of Japan. But look at the name. It's called American Violence. And I can just guess that this was someone who thought they knew how to translate English pretty well. Wouldn't you think that this would probably be American Muscle, and the word that they translated came out to violence, because American Violence means nothing. It's kind of a weird name on a box art for a car, but there are two of them here. So we have a Trans Am and a Mustang with American Violence on it right there, but kind of interesting. And then of course we have some other car kits that came out, like this is a reissue of a actually this is a 1971 version right here, so some very old kits inside this collection as well. So let's take a look at the next box. Okay, next up we have another, I think, nice assortment of very old, unusual kits. As you can see in here, we've got some of the AMT customizing kits. And I know the box is a little torn and frayed on this one, but the kit is actually all complete inside there. So that's kind of a nice one to have. Put that off to the side here for a sec. Oh, we also have a couple of Johan Superbirds. And you might be saying, well, why would you have two of the same kit inside? And that is because this is showing how they used different color plastics back then in the same time period. So we've got this one in this kind of weird kind of powdery blue, and this one in this much darker blue here as well. So probably in the museum we'd have like this box out and then maybe just the body out in front of it to show, you know, the color variations in some of the different kits. Put this off to the side for a sec. And then we have things like from AMT. These were when the customizing kits went to the square box here from the to the bigger rectangular box from the square box, I should say. You see how the box changed over the years. And then finally we have some of the Red Alert, which is a very famous car, which my friend Lucas C. on his channel, he did a whole back history on that car. Advise you to check it out. And then we've even got some of the odd ones. Like this is from a company called Palmer. From which I understand is they were terrible kits, but it's part of that time period, so we're going to have it in it. And then of course you see we've got some MPC 69 and 66 vehicles, as well as this AMT 69 Chevelle. These are kind of interesting when they did all the year on the side of the box here. They actually ended up with quite a few of those type of cars. And then an old customizing kit from Revell as well. Okay, here are some very, very old kits. I did a video with a little bit more back history on a few of these here. These jet racers, or Terra Jets from Monogram. These are all late 40s, early 50s type wooden kits, which if you want to see more on that, you can go check out the other video. Plus we have some of the old Johan customizing kits, as well as this company right here. This is another company that made wooden kits at the time in the late 40s, early 50s. And you basically got a giant block of wood that was kind of shaped to what you were supposed to do. Some decals, some metal parts, and some plastic parts. A little piece of leather inside there, and you had to go ahead and make yourself a car out of that. So things got a lot easier once plastics were became more mainstream. I know plastic kits have been around for longer than that, but wood was still very, very popular all the way up into the early 1950s. Then we have some promo kits that we'll put out, some more customizing kits, things like that. And just the box art alone, guys. I mean, I keep looking at these things and I just go, wow, this is just cool. It looks from a different period. It's, I don't know. To me, I get a kick out of looking at all this stuff. So you can see the pile of kits that will make up, basically this will be a 50s going into an early 60s model rack. And although a lot of these will probably be displayed face forward to show off what kind of a kit it actually was. Okay, next up we have another quite an interesting mix. A bunch of Camaro Z28s and Mustang Mach 1s. As well as a very old Palmer kit. Another one of those PSM Palmer scale models. And then of course we've got the AMT one, and then the MPC of all the different, there's another Palmer in there as well. But just some of the other unusual kits that came out from that time period. Here's a Mustang flip out street racer. Just cool for the time. I just love the box art. And then this Night Crawler. That is an unusual looking car kit right there. And it's cool to get them still in the original shrink wrap. So when we put them out on display, it'll look like a display from that time period. There we are. Here's some more vintage kits. Won't spend too much time showing you all these. I've kind of talked about these in other videos, but we've got some really cool AMT and Johan kits from the time. Like a Superbird Sox and Martin here. And these kits are complete too, so yeah, I think it'll make it in good condition too. So you put this up on the display case, you know, really show off how cool the thing was from that time period. Very, very nice. And even actually a sealed one here. Now that I see this, I forgot we have this one right there. But gives you an idea of some of the other cool kits that will go into the display. Here is that box of 57 Chevys that I just did the video on, but now I have the metal tin one that will also be able to go into this collection when we do the thing. I'm not going to show you the other box, but we do have that box of the bigger 57 Chevys. There was like 5 kits, I believe, in the much bigger box when they retooled, and then of course reissued it a bunch of other times. So this is another one that will go in the display case. Here we are. Here's a cool box that will represent. Part of it is from the 60s, but a lot of it is in here is the 1970s, including these MPC kits that have the original 79 band still on it. So here's another one of those named cars, the Warlord in this particular one, or in this one right here, the Street Savage, where they would name all of their car kits. Plus, I found these. I am not quite sure who made these, but these were, from what I understand, a promotional giveaway at dealerships. Probably made by AMT or MPC, but this is the 79 Trans Am Firebird, and then they also had the 1980, which the kits, oh, I'm sorry about the light on that. So the kits inside here and the box art look identical. So I don't know if they changed anything inside, but both of those are in there. And then we've got kits. This came out in 1969. I just thought the box was really cool on this one. Thought it'd be a nice little display piece for it. So there is yet another box. And then next up, I have lots and lots of promo kits in varied degrees of falling apart. Some are better than others. There's also, look at this one right here. I found this one. This is an AMT with a metal chassis to it here, and then the friction motor still works. But God, look at the warpage on that. That thing is warping right in half on that one there. And then we've got lots of, like I said, just the actual promo kits. And they have quite a bit of the, well, there's the Johann smile right there. And then some of the warping going on that. But they're still cool because they represent something in time. I also have lots of these too, which I showed you in that one box where it was a promo kit that some kid built up in the, I'm guessing the 1960s. And there it is. It kind of tells a story. It's kind of cool to see that, to try to picture where the kid is who built this right now. And then we have lots of promo kits that are not assembled, so we will put some of these out here. So I believe this is a 56 Ols. Kind of interesting. And the rest of the body and chassis are inside boxes like this here, so we have all that put together. But that's another thing. We can have some of these out to show what the promos they were giving away at the dealerships at the time in the 1960s. And this is another oddball one that I wanted to share with you guys. This did not come out of this other collection. I've actually had this for a little bit longer, but was always looking for a way to display this, and this will be the perfect opportunity. So this is from a company called Protar, but look at this oddball thing. This BMW sidecar motorcycle in 9th scale. Never have seen this kit ever before. Came through the doors about 6 months ago, and I was just like, I'm holding on to that. It's too weird not to just to hang on to. So we'll have lots of stuff like this also appear in the museum. Also keep in mind, I get collections all the time. Sometimes vintage stuff like that, sometimes just something we want to tell a story with, and the exhibit can kind of change in and out as well. We can add new stuff, change things around, something gets old and we want to add it in, or you know, just anything can happen on it, and we'll always be trying to change it up and show you all kinds of new things. And next up, we have some wingnut wing kits. Now, obviously, I know none of these are vintage here. These all came out in the 2000s. They're absolutely stunning, incredibly beautiful kits. But what I might have is a small section in the one of the display cases of some of the modern day stuff that has come out that the average person doesn't get a chance to see. And that's true with wingnut. Now that they're completely gone, they're kind of hard to find, a lot of their kits, and they are absolutely just stunning. Beautiful box art, beautiful kit inside, and it'd be kind of interesting to maybe have a kit like this open side by side, and then maybe have a kit like this next to it open up. Yeah, this is from the, I believe this original mold came out in the early 70s, late 60s. It's not a bad kit by any means, but it's blown away by what a wingnut wing kit would be. So in this respect, we'll be able to show, you know, the mold techniques, how they've gotten better over the years, and especially using a plane against another, you know, more modern plane. And also keep in mind too, I am going to be on the hunt. I'm going to be looking for specific things to put into this as we go along. Like I said earlier, it'll always be changing. There'll be something that, you know, if I find something really cool that I think needs to go in there, bang, it's going in there. But even though I'm mainly an armor model, I know a lot of you guys think of me as an armor model. I build everything, but I really don't have any vintage tanks in right now. I'll be on the hunt for some of those. Through the years, growing up in the 70s, I built a couple of tanks, and they're kind of wanting, for lack of a better term, but they're still important. They're an important part of the history. So if we can get some of maybe the old 48 scale Bandai or some of the 70s monogram tanks, all of that would also be included. And then, of course, like I was telling you earlier too, the sci-fi stuff or the science stuff, you know, like NASA or space. We definitely want to put some of those 1960s kits inside of that as well. So there you go, guys. There's a quick look of what is going inside the museum so far. And like I said, emphasize so far. This is just what we pulled together so far, and we're going to be working on that all the time. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you as always for watching, and please stay tuned because we have many more videos coming.